Okay, so for this deep dive, we're focusing in on Job chapter 12.
Right. And here we find Job uh, really pushing back against his friends.
Definitely. He's laying out his own view on, well, on wisdom, why he's suffering, and the power he sees behind it all.
And he kicks off with this really defiant tone. He's basically saying, hey, I'm not an idiot. I have a mind just like you.
Yeah, he says, I am not inferior to you. He feels like they're just stating the obvious things everyone knows.
Exactly. Common knowledge, he implies.
And then it gets quite personal, doesn't it? He talks about being a laughingstock to his friends.
Mm-hmm. Even though he sees himself as righteous, someone who called on God.
And he contrasts that sharply with people who seem at ease, or even he mentions marauders who provoke God but somehow seem secure.
That's such a raw nerve, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why do the seemingly wicked prosper while the righteous suffer? It's a core complaint.
It really is. Then he pivots, interestingly, away from just his own pain.
Yeah, he shifts to where you can really see this power at play, he says.
Asked the animals, or the birds, speak to the earth, the fish of the sea. What's the point he's making there?
Well, it seems like he's saying this divine power isn't some hidden secret. It's obvious.
So obvious even nature gets it.
Kind of, yeah. He says, which of all these does not know that the hand of the Lord has done this? He's suggesting creation itself testifies to it.
Wow, that's quite the argument against his friend's supposed wisdom.
It is. And then comes that huge statement.
In his hand is the life of every creature and the breath of all mankind.
Exactly. That's total. Absolutely all-encompassing. Nothing exists outside that hand.
It really sets the stage for what follows. And then this analogy, does not the ear test words as the tongue tastes food?
What do you think he means by that? Is it about discernment?
I think so. Like, just as tasting is instinctive, maybe discerning truth should be too. Perhaps he's implying his friends aren't using their ears correctly.
Could be. Or maybe questioning their judgment. And right after, he asks about wisdom and age.
Right. Is not wisdom found among the aged? Does not long life bring understanding?
Is that aimed at them too?
Perhaps subtly. Or maybe just setting up a contrast before he dives into the real source of wisdom and power.
Which he then defines, absolutely.
Yes. To God belong wisdom and power. Counsel and understanding are his. He's saying this isn't primarily a human thing, it belongs to God.
And the consequences of that power are stark. What he tears down cannot be rebuilt.
The man he imprisons cannot be released. There is such finality.
No appeal.
None. And this power isn't just about human affairs. It governs nature withholding water, causing drought.
Or unleashing floods to devastate the earth. Total control over the elements.
And over outcomes, too. Strength and victory are his. But then there's that really difficult line.
The one about deception.
Yeah.
Right.
Both deceived and deceiver are his.
Yeah.
That's a challenging concept to grapple with.
It really is. How does that fit? And he just keeps listing examples of this power overriding all human systems.
He does. Counselors stripped, judges made fools, kings dethroned, the established overthrown.
Trusted advisors silenced, the mighty disarmed. It's a complete dismantling of any human claim to ultimate authority or wisdom.
It doesn't matter how secure they seem.
Nope. And it goes beyond the earthly, revealing deep things of darkness, bringing shadows into light. It operates on a cosmic level,
Making nations great, then destroying them, scattering people.
leading to that final, really vivid image, God depriving earth leaders of reason.
Making them stagger like drunkards in the dark, completely lost.
It's an image of utter helplessness before this immense divine power Job is describing.
So looking back at just this chapter, Job 12, we get this picture painted by Job himself. He asserts his understanding, complains bitterly about his own suffering versus the security of others,
Then points to nature as a witness to God's power.
and then describes that power in these sweeping, almost overwhelming terms, from individual life and breath.
All the way to the fate of nations and the confusion of their leaders. It's absolute control.
So, considering Job's description here, this absolute divine control over everything, wisdom and deception, suffering and security, what does this chapter alone suggest to you, the listener, about justice? Or about our ability to even comprehend why God acts?
Yeah, it leaves you with some pretty profound questions, doesn't it? Just
Yeah.
based on Job's words in this specific chapter.